years, international interior designer Stephen G is a world-renowned master of contemporary and traditional high-end design.
To me, lifestyle and comfort is what a great design project is all about.
Interiors by Stephen G has galleries in Florida and New York. With staff fluent in 7 different languages, Interiors by Stephen G offers a full-service experience from construction to completion. Visit Interiors by Stephen G at Facebook or his website, interiorsbystephenG.com. That's interiorsbystephenG.com to get started on bringing your design fantasies to a level beyond your dreams. Visit interiorsbystephenG.com today.
Gen X, Millennials, Generation Me, Generation Internet. You know who you are. You've been crushed, hit hard by this economy.
So if you're dealing with college debt, maybe you're even trying to move out of your parents' house or start a new business.
For women, success is an entirely different game. Our goals are huge, and so are our responsibilities. There is work and there is play, health, friendships, and romance. The question is, how do you call all the shots and never lose sight on what it means to be a woman? Each week, Elena Cardone and Kerri Kasem bring you topics, discussions, and tips with women in power who are going for it all and making it happen.
Well, hello there! You caught me behind the scenes, like, woo, setting up for the Women in Power show today. We're so glad to have you. You're watching Whatever It Takes Network. This is Kerri Kasem. I'm Elena Cardone. We're so excited today because we have Kerri Kasem here joining us from, where are you today, Kerri? Los Angeles? Is Kerri? Uh-oh, we're not quite sure we're hearing Kerri Kasem. Kerri Kasem is the daughter of Casey Kasem. And Casey Kasem, as like everyone knows, was very well known for American Top 40. We all grew up hearing that voice. And now Kerri, how many shows have you done, Kerri? You're a radio, you graduated from the American broadcast.
Yeah, your bio is insane. I was reading it last night, and it's one show after another.
I know. So my question, Kerri, are you with us yet?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yay.
Okay.
Are you
Good.
in Los Angeles right now?
I am in Los Angeles. You know what? You left us. You and Grant left us. I'm sure you have me in Florida, but we miss you here.
Well, we definitely miss you, but I'm so glad you're joining us today because, first of all, I, of course, think you are so extremely powerful. You've worked with some top people in your industry. But what do you think? Would you consider yourself a woman in power?
Absolutely. If I didn't think I was a woman in power, I wouldn't. There's no way I could have done the things I have done in the last few years, especially this last year. And this is going to sound crazy, but I had this, job for 4.5 years. It was a syndicated radio show heard by 4 million people a week. We were only getting bigger and bigger. We were all over, FM, on XM, on iHeartRadio.
Is this with Nikki Sixx?
Yeah, 6 Cents with Nikki Sixx. And my father got very ill this last year, and we were kept from him. And if people that don't know the story, I was kept from my father by his wife, and not only me and my brother, my sister, but his entire family and all of his friends. So I chose to give up my show and fight for my dad and fight to see him, and I won. So I did not know until I was in it how powerful I was, because I took on a very I'd say an adversary I'd never had before.
Yeah, because you became an activist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it takes those challenging situations to be able to push outside your comfort zone to find out that you had a greater purpose, which was, because I read a lot about you last night and watched the videos, and I couldn't even imagine being in that position where you're not allowed to see a loved one. It just has to be so incredibly difficult given your relationship with your father.
It was. And my dad always turned negatives into positives, and he always fought for the underdog and he fought for what was right, even if it wasn't the popular thing to do. So I thought, you know what? I went public with this. I talked about this on air, on TV, and I started getting letters. Hundreds of letters from people going through my exact same situation.
I just got the chills.
Me too.
Yeah. I said, I could go after this one person that's doing this to my family and me.
Mm-hmm.
I could help all the families that are going through this. And I chose to, say, I'm going to create a bill. I'm going to do whatever it takes. And I'm going to get a bill passed so this doesn't happen to any other families. And now I have that bill in 5 different states.
And it's called the visitation bill, correct?
It's what I've dubbed the visitation bill.
Oh, okay.
Out here, Assemblyman Mike Gatto has it. He's the first one to pick it up, and he's authored it. He really worked very hard all year on this bill, and it's AB 2034 out here. And now we have it in Nevada with Michelle Fiore and John Hambrick. We have it in Chicago with Senator Menard. I mean, there's
Kerri, briefly, is there a link that we can put on the site where people should check out, can read more in depth about it as well?
Yes, if you just go to CasemCaresFoundation.org, we put up everything. And right now it's kind of under construction, so a lot of new stuff hasn't been on. This show was on it. I just put this show up on it, I think. And then CasemCares.com or CasemCaresFoundation.org. Both the same thing. You'll find all the information. Also, if you go to KerriKasem.com, everything is up there as well. So, and the new version of the bill is going to be up there soon as well, too.
So this is a bill that is basically for families that, like if a spouse marries someone else and then the person gets ill and can't really speak for themselves, they can actually cut you out of the hospital room or from visiting them at home, or tell me a little bit more about it.
Okay, so what this is, and right now there's a huge hole, a gap in the law. You have to have a conservatorship, or you have to have a conservatorship, and some states call it guardianship, or you have to have a durable power of health or estate to get in to see a lawyer, to get in to see a judge. Now, with that, it's going to take about $100,000 or $200,000 to fight it.
Yeah.
Who has $100,000 to $200,000? Most people don't,
No.
right? So they'll never see their loved ones again. So you're in there fighting for a conservatorship that you may not win, right? So most people go, okay, I don't know what to do. They're in so much apathy over it because there's nothing they can do. So what this law will do is it will allow a brother, a sister, if it's your own kids, to go to a judge and say, hey, I'm being isolated from
Kerri,
my dad.
hold on one sec. We're going to come right back after this, and I want you to pick it up from there. Hold on. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with Kerri Kasem.
First direct mail sale we had in helping us sell over 200 new Lexus in one weekend.
We have established relationships with some of the best dealerships in the nation.
When you work with Hamlin Associates, John is from the automotive business. John has a really good grasp of what it takes to make a sale successful, and John is very much worried about your return on investment.
Let us help you go to the next level.
Times best-selling author and self-made multimillionaire entrepreneur Grant Cardone has partnered with the Hard Rock Hotel to bring you 10X Your Life at the Hard Rock Hotel Cancun. Reward yourself as you play hard at this all-inclusive luxury experience, and you'll work hard participating in C Grant seminars live on November 14th and 15th. These unique seminars were created to help you learn to 10x your finances, 10x your social media, 10x your business, and 10x your life. Visit 10xseminar.com to book your 10x experience now, for rates starting at $463 per night for 3 nights. Seminars, meals, and beverages are included. Stop settling. 10x your finances, reach your dreams, 10x your business, and 10x your life. Take action and go to 10xseminar.com now to book your 10x experience at the Hard Rock Hotel Cancun.
And we're back.
We're actually here with Kerri Kasem on Women in Power, and she was telling us about the bill that she just got passed. And Kerri, are you there?
It's in 5 different states right now.
Wow.
And it looks very, very good, especially for California this spring for getting it passed. Everybody's on board. There was no opposition. For some reason, we went through the assembly completely unanimously, like all unanimous votes. So it passed the assembly, passed the Senate, and went to the Senate Judiciary Committee. And for some reason, they created a problem, and they had issues with it where we had no opposition until it got there. So it's, you know, the head of the Judiciary Committee, Senator Hannah Beth Jackson said, "I promise you, we're going to work on it. We'll get it passed this spring." So we'll get it passed hopefully in spring, and we will have that. But going back to what I was saying, what the bill actually does, and a lot of people, they have a misconception because they think, oh, it's a bill that you're going to get to see whoever, you know, your parents, you're going to get to see your brother. Even what if he doesn't want to see you? Well, this is a bill that's just going to allow somebody to say, hey, I'm being blocked from my loved one. This is what's happening. The other, you know, people, the conservator or the guardian can come and say, well, this is why I don't want them to see their parent, their brother, their whoever it may be they're being blocked from. And then the court sends over a court-appointed attorney to the ailing parent or the ailing sibling, and they say, hey, do you want to see your kids? Do you want to see your brother? Do you want to see your sister?
Yeah, but if they have dementia...
Yeah, how are they?
And they don't know, and especially if they're being influenced by
I'll tell you.
Okay.
So if they say yes, they get visitation. If they say no, there's no visitation. Now remember, these people are used to going to people's houses with elder abuse, people that have been coerced, people, so they know what they're looking for. If the person is incapacitated, then you look at the child-parent history, you look at the sibling history, and you give visitation on that. So it's that simple. You're not stuck in the court for a year. You're not stuck with these massive, massive lawyers' bills that can go over $100,000. And getting a conservatorship over a parent is extremely difficult, especially the wife. Now, the only reason I won conservatorship is because my father's wife, Jean Kasem, did something that was...
well, she kidnapped him.
She kidnapped him, but it wasn't only that. She unplugged him from all of his IVs. She unplugged his feeding tube, and at 2:30 in the morning, wheeled him out and threw him in the back of an SUV. He needed to be transported by ambulance. He needed to be on medications. He needed to be on his feeding tube, and there's a video of it. So
I just can't believe that somebody would be so cruel. It's just disguseven to me.
It is. It is. It's awful, and this is why
you've taken on this fight. And I'm sure you never
even
going kind of like into the political kind of arena before, but my God, I'm sure these families that you're receiving all these letters from are so excited that that they actually have a voice and something is being done about it, which I find so remarkable that you've ended up there, but yet I've heard you say that when you were in elementary school, it was the worst time of your whole life. You hated it. You felt so stupid. And how did you go from that girl to this powerful woman now? Like, was there a specific change? Was there something you did? Like, what happened? How does one do that?
And by the way, Kerri, on that note, before you answer that, because Lynn and I were talking about this in Hair and Makeup, is we hear you talk so much about your dad, and we both wondered, well, what about your mom's influence in your life?
Well, my mom was, I think she's what gave me very outgoing, very social, very able to talk to people and to be, She was just like the person that kept the families together, that had the family reunions, that she was so personable, and she was a political fundraiser. So she was a political fundraiser.
So she wasn't in the shadows of her husband.
No, she's been, my father and her, when they were together, they did tons of political work together. They did a lot of fundraising. I remember working on Lieutenant Governor Mike Kerb, who my brother is named after, and who in fact told my dad that he would pay for all of the funeral expenses and bury him where he wanted to be in Forest Lawn. And he actually wrote that letter to the media and to Norway. So, I remember that as kids, making signs for, elect governor, or Lieutenant Governor Mike Kerb. And I remember that. My dad, though, was a bleeding heart liberal. My mom is a Republican. So I'm kind of right down the middle.
Oh,
You're... So I'm kind
of it's interesting.
You kind of narrate the stream.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting how you again got flustered. I mean, how you got pushed into the political limelight again, and I just believe like everything happens for a reason. So obviously this was a trial and tribulation that helped,
but
bring out a gift.
If there was a woman that's watching this show right now that kind of feels stymied or stuck and like doesn't know how to get out of feeling insecure and doesn't feel like a woman in power and doesn't feel like they can really even do much, or they feel stupid like you did or not so intelligent, like what would you tell them to do? What is the first step they can do to like kind of get in on the road of empowerment?
Okay, well, let me tell you something. When I was a kid, I guess, right now, if I was a kid in these days with all the medication, I would have been put on ADD medication. Thank God I didn't live in this era, growing up in this era, because I would have been put on tons of medication. But when I got in my, I guess, early 20s, it was early 20s, 20, 21, I went to a psychiatrist and like, oh, you have ADD, ADHD. Here, take this medication. So I did. I got real sick off of it. It was awful. And I'm like, this is terrible. There's got to be something else I can do. I feel stupid. My moods go up and down. I feel like a crazy person. What's happening? And I finally said, I got to do something with my health. And I was a vegan, but I was a very unhealthy vegan, very unhealthy. And I realized I had incredibly low
blood sugar.
My vitamins were just like out of whack. Deficiencies right and left. And I was severely anemic. So guess what? I got my anemia under control. I stopped eating sugar. About 5 years ago, I got off of gluten. But
my God, did that help with the depression? And don't you feel so much better now that your body's not being like weighed down with sugar and all these deficiencies?
Elena, it changed my life. I didn't have ADD. I didn't have ADHD, which knowing that I was diagnosed with this and knowing that when you get your food allergies under control, you get your vitamin deficiencies under control, you get your anemia under control. Wow.
Which is so amazing, because look how focused you have to be to get a bill passed. Yep. And you've done it in a 5-state. You have to be focused. Like if you had this ADHD or whatever it is that they're trying to diagnose you with, how would you ever have accomplished that? I mean, I feel like those medications could have just like made you zombie lady and just go, okay, and just take it.
And nowadays they give you medication for everything. And again, it's such a big industry. It's such a moneymaker. Talk about politics.
Ever ask you.
Well, we'll be right back after this break because we have so much more to ask Kerri. So much.
Yes, she just, I feel like the drug medicines are just a killer to the entrepreneur. Yeah. So, yes, stay tuned. We'll be right back with Kerri Kasem.
Work demands the highest price. Auto dealers, do you sell your notes? Are you disappointed with your current lender, your price, or your service? If you need capital now, we are the answer. Use our nationwide network of lenders. Trust us with your portfolio. Expedite your cash flow. With over $120 million submitted in 2014, we'll deliver. Dealer Capital Services. Visit mydealercapital.com or call 337-451-6921 today. There are 7 billion people in the world. Who are you? How are you different?
7 billion people on planet Earth. There's a small portion of them that want greatness.
Seller Be Sold. Book and audio package.
You can't get away from this idea that you just have to sell more.
Voted the #1 business sales book by Axiom Gold Awards. Now, for the first time ever, in audio, read by Grant Cardone. If you want to get your way in business and in life, call 800-368-5771. Seller Be Sold. Book and audio package. Call 800-368-5771 today.
Welcome back to Women in Power. You're here with Katrina Camp and Elena Cardone, and our very special guest today is Kerri Kasem. Been so excited to talk to her about so many different things. We're so glad, Kerri, that you defied the psychiatrist's diagnosis of you that you have ADHD and instead became this incredibly powerful entrepreneur, and you just changed all of your food allergies and really took a handle of your body, which was, you know, very smart. But Kerri, now I want to get to a couple of fun things. Okay, so I know you did Sixth Sense with Nikki Sixx for I don't know how many years, and I think you worked with
5 years, yeah.
How many?
Almost 5 years.
Almost 5 years, and you worked with Ricky Ratman, who's another radio personality, for about 7 years. So you've met a lot of people. Like, okay, do you ever feel like meat? Do you ever feel like they just hit on you, they don't take you seriously? And if so, how did you do you just kind of go along with it, or how did you kind of get your point across without feeling like a bimbo or like not taken seriously?
You know, I never felt that way. Maybe in the beginning when I first got on, I did a show called Two Chicks and a Bunny. It was for 97.1, the FM talk station. And there was a playmate. There was me, and then there was a woman who read tarot cards, right? And she had this college education. She was very intelligent. And I pitched this thinking there's no way in hell I'm getting on LA radio. You know, I had done radio. Of course, I was on National Lampoon's all comedy radio. I had done Ricky Ratman's show, but I'd never done a talk show. And that was my passion, was talk. So I got 2 girls that had never done radio before, but were very funny. I went into this radio station and I pitched it. And I think that's the only time that looks helped, that the playmate status helped, because it was a very fun, crazy station.
But how did you actually work to get out of your dad's identity and set up your own identity? Because I'm sure that's something when you said, okay, I want to pitch this show, they're like, oh, okay, this is, you know.
Or did you use that?
Yeah.
Were you like,
advantage?
hey,
You know,
in my blood.
It's funny when you have a famous last name like Kasem in radio. They'll say, "Okay, we'll see you," but you have to be so much better than anybody that walks through the door.
Yeah,
you're Casey Kasem's daughter. You've got to not only be good, you've got to be really good. So let me tell you something: radio stations like Clear Channel or Cumulus, they're not going to take me because I have a famous last name and put me on one of their stations. Because I have a famous last name, you have to be good.
But how did you work to set up your own identity?
To fail. So yeah, I know that I'm good. I know that's why I've gotten the biggest. You know, I've gotten huge syndication shows, and I've done very well for myself since 1997. I've been on air, so I put the work behind it. I worked at a few different stations for free as an intern. I went to radio school. I can run my own board. I can put my own commercials together. So when I came in and I pitched this, I had a body of work to say, hey, look, I'm serious. Yeah.
Well, we actually have a caller who might have a question or it might be a comment, but I would love to take Vera from Massachusetts, because I did promise that if we had some callers, they could speak to the one and only Miss Kerri Kasem. Vera, are you there?
Yes, I am. How are you guys?
Oh, great. How are you?
Good, thank you. It's my first time calling into your show, but I love all the Cardone shows.
Oh, awesome. So we have a Cardone fan here. Did you have a question or a comment for Kerri?
I do not have a question, because I was trying to figure out from the Twitter status post like what the topic was. So I just assumed you were just taking calls just to speak about women in power in general. And I wanted to touch on something that I noticed about women who are in power and similarities about them.
Mm-hmm. What do you think about that?
Well, people who are women in power tend to have the same type of astrology and numerology. And when I talk about that, I'm talking about the Chinese system. I've been to China, and so ever since then, I just really got into noticing things about people. And they typically have the same signs, the same numbers around them.
Well, you know what's interesting about this topic is that I'm very big into astrology and numerology.
And I am
Elena,
so not.
And Grant.
I'm like, oh.
But what's interesting is I'm really into it, and together with my faith in God. But Elena and Grant are completely against it. They think I'm whack.
No. I mean, it's just not my belief system. I wouldn't put somebody else down for theirs, but
but
not mine.
Yes. But you know what? But Grant asked me an interesting question, which maybe you can help me answer. He said, how is it? What about if you believe in past lives or future lives? How then does that affect your astrology or your numerology if you're born different, right? This was his question.
Like your sign, okay, so I'm Cancer. What is that? Was that the moment I was conceived? The moment I was born? And then if I have lived before, which I personally believe I have, then why am I not something else? Why are you going by my body? Why are you going to degrade me to this in this little lifetime rather than me as a spiritual being? I just don't think me as a spiritual being can be labeled, oh, you're a Cancer, that's...
Well, right. All cancers are very different. And in fact, the reason I study Chinese system is because the Western system has so much misinformation about it. And so I would say it's about 60% accurate compared to the Chinese system, which I would say is probably more like 90% accurate. But the thing about your Western chart, you're not just Cancer. You have the reason why it's not accurate is because it's so complicated.
Well, let me ask Kerri. Let me ask Kerri something. Okay, Kerri, I don't know what you think about this, but what do you think you're supposed to do with all this stuff? So you have this thing that says you've got to do this or this is who you are. Then what? What do you think you do with that, Kerri?
Look, I don't think it's something that says you have to do this, you have to do that. It's fun. I read Linda Goodman's Love Signs, okay? There's some really cool stuff that, hey, wow, you hit it right on the head. It's not something I'm going to follow. Do I think astrology, there's something to it? I do. I don't think it's like something you go by. I think it's something you read, and if it's like, wow, that's really interesting. That
if you pull some motivation from it that day, then you can use it. Like, oh yeah, it gives me
everything, and it doesn't mean you can't change it. Let's say, oh, cancers or stay-at-home family people. I'm not a family person. I'm not a stay-at-home person. I'm nothing like that.
But Kerri, that's probably because you have a moon, you have a sun, and you have there's different aspects to your chart as well.
You have your Chinese sign, plus you have your numbers, your life path, the date. Numerology is always more prevalent over your personality than your Western sign, and Chinese astrology is the second most important thing. Most people don't believe in astrology.
I like what I am
in. System is so far off from what's real. Like I have some colleagues that have actually proven with political history the scientific actual basis for Chinese astrology and numerology, and they released a book called "Oh Must Go."
Oh Must Go. Okay, so Oh Must Go, on that note, thank you so much for calling in, Vera. I want to take another caller. I think it's fun, too. I agree with Kerri. I believe we have a Grant on the phone who is dying to talk to the Miss Kerri Kasem, so we might let him through and see what he's got to say. Grant, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh.
What do you guys do? Y'all got Kasem, Skanky Kasem on?
What? Don't you dare offend my friend like that.
I knew her
Grant,
before you did, buddy.
I don't know. I don't know.
Question? Come on, spit it out.
Kerri, how you doing today?
I'm good, Grant. I'm good. I'm with your gorgeous wife and Katrina, these stunning women who've got this amazing lighting on them.
Why does Grant feel the need to invade every time I try to do something? Like especially if it has to do with beautiful women, he always has to cut in.
Whatever it takes, buddy.
Whatever it takes.
Kerri, how many times have you said whatever it takes, Kerri?
Whatever it takes. Twice now.
Can you say it again?
Whatever it takes, Grant.
Well,
Kerri,
Kerri, it really is a whatever it takes chick, though.
Kerri,
I mean, look at her
Kerri.
whole life.
But yeah, I want to know, what does your dad teach you about whatever it takes?
Actually, he lived that. He lived whatever it takes. He did whatever it took to get him to where he was. And I think I grew up watching a man live that way. And I feel like it's funny. I feel like I kind of took over where he left off.
Interesting.
So, and you have to do whatever it takes. I did stuff that people looked at me and said, "You're crazy." I said, "I'm going to quit my show that's at the height of its popularity. I'm making a lot of money.
Wow.
But I'm going to do whatever it takes to see my father again before he dies." And you know what? I did it. I did it. Where most people would fail, I did it. My sister failed. My brother failed. Everybody failed. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to even look at that. I'm going to do what I need to do to see my dad. And I did it. And not only did I get to see my dad before he died, his brother, his aunt, his best friends, and my brother and sister all got to be with him for 15 days. And we all were with him when he took his last breath. And then
Kerri, one more question before I leave, okay? What do you think about men that won't do whatever it takes to take care of their women?
Well,
that's a good question.
I know that to me, I'm like, it kind of goes both ways. You have to. Women need to take care of their men as well, whether it's monetarily, whether it's emotionally. I believe that you've got to have both. And so, look, I think a man definitely needs to take care of his woman, across the board. But so does a woman.
So you feel a woman needs to take care of a man monetarily?
Look, I'm the breadwinner here, and I usually am. It's not the fact
that was my question, Kerri. Are you married or in a relationship?
I'm in a relationship, but it's not that my man doesn't work. He works every single day. He just sold his first movie.
Oh,
but I've always been one, for whatever reason, that is, the one with the house, the one that brings home most of the money. Will he probably make more money than I do eventually? Yeah, he's going to. So, but I don't feel whole as a person if I'm not contributing, if I'm not paying half the rent, if I'm not, I guess, I don't know what it is. I've been like that my whole life. I'm the one, I like to be the person that goes out and works every day. I like to be the person that owns the things that that I can buy the things. That makes me feel good. But there's some women who their job is to be a wife and a mother, and that is a huge job. If I had 2-3 kids, one kid, that's your job, is to take care of that child. So,
do we see kids down the line for Miss Kerri Kasem?
Probably not. But
do we see a wedding down the line for Miss Kerri Kasem?
I thought you said
I did. I moved on. I got that one. Now I'm asking wedding.
Are you marrying Ozzy?
No. Ozzy's married, Grant. To Sharon.
I gotta go. I love you guys.
Okay. Thanks for the call.
See you soon.
Okay, so there's a bit of I'm sensing a bit of a scared thing.
I'm not a marriage person. Never have been. I've never seen myself in a white dress. I've never dreamed of that. That has never been,
a priority.
A priority. My work for me is a priority. My family is a priority. But
you never know.
She could get the bite. I was like
next
that
time we interview her, she'll be pregnant and married.
She'll be like, Well, Kerri, I have just truly loved our interview. Thank you so much. And you can follow Kerri at Kerri Kasem. She also has the Kasem Cares Foundation. So check it out. Read more about it. See if there's any way that you can help maybe get this bill passed in your area, maybe with a signature or whatnot. Maybe a donation online, etc.
And you're such an inspiration, Kerri. Thank you so much for your time. Sharing your message with us.
This is definitely a woman in power here. We loved having you on. This is my co-host, Katrina Campins. You can follow her at Katrina Campins. And I'm Elena Cardone. Of course, you can follow me at Elena Cardone. This is Women in Power. You're watching Whatever It Takes Network. Thanks for joining in. And thank you, Dry Deluxe, for the fabulous hair and makeup again. because we tried to do it without, and that was definitely not happening. So we won't do that to our fans ever again. Thank you, Dry Bar Deluxe, and we're out. We'll see you next week.
New York Times best-selling author and self-made multimillionaire entrepreneur Grant Cardone has partnered with the Hard Rock Hotel to bring you 10X Your Life at the Hard Rock Hotel Cancun. Reward yourself as you play hard at this all-inclusive luxury experience, and you'll work hard participating in See Grant seminars live on November 14th and 15th. These unique seminars were created to help you learn to 10X your finances, 10X your social media, 10X your business, and 10X your life. Visit 10xseminar.com to book your 10X experience now for rates starting at $463 per night for 3 nights. Seminars, meals, and beverages are included. Stop settling. 10X your finances, reach your dreams, 10X your business, and 10X your life. Take action and go to 10xseminar.com now to book your 10X experience at the Hard Rock Hotel Cancun. New York Times best-selling author and self-made multimillionaire entrepreneur